Welcome to another tutorial. Today we're going to be making alcohol ink floral inspired dishes. We're going to do two different patterns. Let's get started. First thing, I'm going to show you what supplies we're going to need. Use a blue alcohol ink. We're going to use a honey or goldish alcohol ink, some red alcohol ink, this Calypso blue alcohol ink, and then this white pigment paste that's going to be used for our petals. So the first thing that we're going to do is stir and mix this 2-part epoxy resin. And then you're going to pour a very thin layer into both of your molds. You don't need very much. It's just a little bit to get started for the alcohol inks to set in. And you're going to want to pour it all the way to those edges. Make sure it all gets coated nicely and then set them back down. Doesn't take much, it's just enough so that you can pour that in and give the very cool effect that the alcohol inks are going to give. So this is the red I'm going to start with, but first we're going to use some of our gold flakes. I like to use these gold flakes rather than using color in the middle because the color tends to spread and these will stay very nicely in place. So you're going to put a couple in here and then just make sure that you get them nicely in that center. There we go. Sometimes takes me more than once just to kind of move them around. Then we're going to put a couple dots of the alcohol ink directly into that thin layer of resin. You can kind of do this with whatever colors you want, have a little bit of fun, mix and match. See how they blend into each other. So now we're going to pre-mix a little bit of the white for later. You can't pour it right on top. You kind of have to wait about 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, it will spread too fast and you won't get the neat bloom effects. So we're going to mix this white pigment paste. It doesn't take much. If you see, I'm kind of using just the tip of that popsicle stick into it. And then we're going to stir it up really well. And again, we're just going to let that sit. We're not going to mess with it at all just yet. So stir it up. And then we are going to, like I said, put it right to the side. All right. Then you're going to pour a thin layer again onto what you've already created. And if you look, it's really cool how that alcohol ink spreads. So let's start on the second one. This one's the one I'm going to use my blues for. But again, let's first start with our gold leafing and make sure we get that right into the center. Just place it right there. All right. Then we're going to put a little bit of this blue Calypso. Doesn't matter if it splatters a little, just use it right into your design. Art is not perfect, it is fun. So then I'm going to use this navy blue that I really like a lot. This one spreads really, really fast, so it doesn't take much of it at all. Then we're going to pour again a thin layer. And I love watching the way these alcohol inks spread. It's so much fun. And we're add a couple more little blues just because we can. This is 15 minutes later. So this is something I mixed offhand. It's a little bit of actually liquid gold. It's a gold leafing in liquid form. And I like to play with this too because it stays put to create petals. Then I'm going to use this white pigment paste and we're going to kind of swirl that around too. I like to try different patterns to see how things look. Next thing, I'm going to create my kind of petal design by taking this and just pulling it from the center. You can do it from the center, from the front, from the top, however you want. Then I'm going to pull them the opposite way. And if you see, it kind of gives you a really cool petal effect. Then I'm just going to use the white only on my blues. I don't think it really needs any gold. So we're just going to use the white and I'm actually going to form mini petals with this one. So you can draw them however you want. I can tend to be a little sloppy, but it still always turns out so beautiful in the end. And then I'm going to take my popsicle stick and just run it back and forth, kind of all over the place. Give myself a really abstract design on this one. And then we're going to let it sit for 24, well, not quite 24 hours on this one. This tends to sell a little faster, so 8 hours where it's a little bit soft. See, kind of spongy still. And then you're going to pick different size bowls. So this one I'm going to have as a deeper trinket dish. I'm going to push it all the way in, and then I'm going to use something else to kind of keep it in place. And this one I want is more shallow, so I'm using a wider bowl, and I'm not going to use anything on this one to keep it in place. So now we do need to wait about 24 to 36 hours and let them get fully hardened. All right, this is my favorite part as always, the demolding. So we take these out, and voila! Look at that gorgeous blue floral pattern it makes. I love it. I love the bottom even more. Look at that. How cool is that? That white always sinks right to the bottom, which is super cool. Now let's check out the red and gold. See, this is more of a shallow dish, not near as wide, but again, it made those really pretty petal effects, and see how it sunk to the bottom? Awesome, and this is a very quick project. I love it. Like, subscribe, and let us know what you would like to see next. 50.